What's up, heathens? How ya doing? Today we're going to be looking into who is actually responsible for original sin.
Wait a second. There's no doubt who's responsible.
I agree.
That bitch
bastard
Eve.
Adam. What?
Fucking traitor.
So, don't listen to Brocephus on this topic because...
Hold on now, dipshit. I have reasons and stuff in order to be saying the shit that I'm saying. Just look at 1 Timothy 2:14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman was deceived and became a transgressor. This was written by Paul himself, okay? It was one of the epistles. Are you trying to say that you know more about Christian theology than fucking Paul?
No, but what I am saying is that is a forged epistle, so that's not actually what Paul wrote. And it's this exact kind of verse that gives us the indication that this was not written by Paul. The misogynistic nature of it is totally antithetical to everything else written by Paul.
Whatever, you fucking nerd. The Bible doesn't lie, and the first verse says that Paul wrote this sumbitch to some fuck named Tim. And since the Bible doesn't lie because the Bible says so it must have been written by Paul. Suck on that, dipshit.
Okay, well, let's look at what Paul actually wrote about original sin in Romans 5:12, which is an actual epistle that the author Paul actually wrote. Therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned. So actually, Paul totes blames Adam for original sin.
Oh, come on, man. That ain't fair, and you know it.
What? Why? Did he not eat the fruit as well?
Yeah, but, I mean, you know how convincing the women's are. If she hadn't have...
Look, it's not Eve's fault that Adam's a dipshit, okay? How about Adam actually take some responsibility for his own shitty actions?
Go fuck yourself. I'm out of here before God thinks I'm eating this forbidden fruit shit. Bye, you goddamn heathens.
Okay. The official Christian stance is that Adam is the one to blame for original sin. This is because God made him the leader or made him for the leadership role, while Eve was just like a helpmeet or whatever the fuck for Adam. Therefore, Adam's sin was actually much greater than Eve's sin. This is a bit of doublespeak, though, when you consider the entire theology of Christianity. Because in the same breath, some Christians will say that Eve and Adam were made equals by God. Yet Eve is not also considered a leader? And because she's not a leader, that means that her sin is less egregious. This doesn't really sound like equality to me. This also contradicts the notion that in the eyes of God, all sin is equal. Another defense of this contradiction is that Adam was not deceived by Eve or the snake, making his sin a lot less serious than Eve's sin. This is also confusing, not only because of the aforementioned reasons here, but because how is Adam supposed to know it was good or bad to disobey God when he had yet eaten from the tree of knowledge? Also, was Eve deceived by the snake? I mean, the snake does convince her to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge, but, I mean, doesn't saying that she got deceived sort of take away some of the responsibility of her making that decision? Is she not responsible for her actions? Are all men responsible for the actions of women?
Hell yes, she's responsible. It's the women's damn fault that we're even in this fucking situation right now. The moral of this entire original sin story is that women are to blame for everything. And I mean everything.
No, they aren't, dumbass. I would also like to point out how this whole fall of man original sin situation is something that God needs to happen. I mean, how else do you explain him putting the tree of knowledge directly in the center of the Garden of Eden? And then he goes a step further and is like, hey, don't touch this red button over here. You know, everybody wants to touch the red button because they're curious about what happens when you touch the red button. In this case, everything gets fucked up. But how are they supposed to know that? Also, did you notice how this whole story is a metaphor about how you should only trust like knowledge from God or knowledge of God and reject all other kinds of knowledge? It's very anti-knowledge at the very start of this whole book.
Don't you fucking question God.
Well, I have to say, that is the most Christian thing you've said this entire time. Thank you, heathens, for joining us today on this contradiction. If you will, go down below, let me know what you think about it. I'd really love to hear from you guys. While you're down there, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of contradictory content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and I will see you heathens later.